All right, good morning. My name is Ann Silverberg, and I'm CEO for NorCal Affordable at Related. And I'm joined here at the podium by Doug Shoemaker, the president of Mercy Housing California. And it is our honor to welcome you all here to the topping out ceremony for Sunnydale 3A and 3B. Thank you all for coming. We are so happy to have everyone here to celebrate. It's a big crowd. It's very exciting. And we are also honored to have such distinguished speakers with us today. We will soon be joined by Mayor Breed. We have Senator Scott Wiener, Supervisor Walton, Dr. Tanya Ledju, Marina Wyant, Gustavo Velasquez, and Lynn Von Koch-Liebert from the state of California. So a really amazing lineup of speakers. I want to say that passion and determination, maybe some patience, are what the residents and the community have shown for more than a decade while participating in the creation and the evolution of the plan, not just for housing, but also for jobs, for services, for families, for children, all here at Sunnydale. And while it's incredible to see and celebrate the progress, which we're doing today, we know there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and in fact, work that is being done in the background behind us, we can hear that. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and we're here for it, and we hope you are all too. But we do want to take a minute to celebrate this really important milestone. We are celebrating the construction of two 100% affordable apartment communities that together will provide 170 new homes, including 127 that will be set aside for the Sunnydale residents. And amazingly, this is not just housing. We also will have 24,000 square feet of ground floor space that will house vital resources, including childcare, health and wellness, some neighborhood serving retail, and that is in addition to the 30,000 square feet that's right next door under construction at the hub. So incredible resources here at Sunnydale. And it's windy. Turning my page for me. All right. I do want to acknowledge that this development would not be possible without so many of you. Pat yourselves all on the back. There are so many people who have given so much time, energy, and commitment to this development, starting with the San Francisco Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development. Thank you all so much. You know who you are, but just in case, Dan Adams, Lydia Ely, Sarah Amaral, Robert Baca, and Ryan Van Guylen. I'll clap. And of course, the San Francisco Housing Authority, Dr. Tanya Ledju, Mamadou, Linda Mason, Kendra Crawford, and the Board of Commissioners, including Joaquin Torres that we saw here, right here behind me. Thank you again for all that you have done for this project and our partner. I am really, even though Doug walked away, I am honored. I am too, yes, but no, nothing to do about that. But I am honored to be standing here with Doug. Doug and I have known each other for, 25 years. We've been in and around this industry, and it has been so rewarding to really lean into something that we both feel passionately about and think is so important. I have been so impressed and amazed by Doug and the entire Mercy team. Cannot thank them enough. I'm looking right now at Rami Dare, who's moved on, but still her heart is here and gave so many years and commitment. Elizabeth Kawanda, Ashley Hurst, Claire Murphy, as well as the entire Mercy Real Estate Development team, property management, and the community life teams. Thank you all so much. It's an honor to partner with you. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Doug to say a few words.
Ann and I have dueling scripts, so nobody knows what's going to happen today. I'll just return the compliment. When Mercy Housing California years ago decided that we were interested in trying to work with the residents here, we knew it would be a real struggle to do this, not alone, because obviously there's so many other folks involved, but Jane Graff at the time reached out to Bill Whitty here, He was a teenager at the time, and said, "Do you want to work on this with us?" And for whatever reason, Bill said yes. And so the partnership has been great. So I also want to thank Ann and Bill and Tu and Carlos and the other folks on the related team. It's really been you can't imagine how much work goes into these projects and these developments, and so it's been a real team effort. So just really thrilled that we're here today. I'm very excited. I keep looking over there behind Tariq at the center, at the hub, and getting more and more excited about the opening of that. So I just also want to thank all the city folks that are here today. We'll be introducing a couple of them in a second, but it's an unbelievable amount of work for all the parties involved. I see that Mayor Breed has not yet arrived, which means that we have the opportunity to introduce Senator Wiener. Yeah.
Dueling scripts. All right, here we go. I am so honored to introduce our very first speaker. I have had the pleasure of introducing Senator Scott Wiener in the past. I feel like I never do him justice because he is just that amazing, but I'm going to try again. The senator was elected in 2016 and re-elected in 2020, and he represents the 11th senatorial district. Senator Scott Wiener works tirelessly on so many very important causes: transportation, LGBTQ, criminal justice reform, clean energy, poverty alleviation, and most important to many of us is they're all very important, but housing. He chairs multiple committees, including the Senate Budget Committee, which is so important right now. And he's authored 75 bills that have been signed into law. He's so productive in Sacramento. Thank you. Among the recently passed bills is, I'm not going to name all 75, but I will say among the recently passed bills, SB 4, YIGVI, Yes in God's Backyard, and the landmark laws of SB 35 and SB 423, its follow-on, which have changed the landscape of entitlements for housing and resulted in thousands of new affordable homes, some that are now being occupied by residents instead of just on the planning book. So it has really, really been a huge change. We're so grateful. Please join me in welcoming Senator Scott Wiener.
Thank you, Ann. Always happy to stand in for the mayor. I love coming down to Sunnydale to see the progress, and I go out of my way to do it because I am so excited about this project. Yes, the buildings that we're topping out today, but the entire master plan for what's happening here. The housing, the retail, the community support services, the hub, the hub is so exciting. We were able to, when the state still had money, which we don't anymore, hopefully temporarily, but when we had money, we were able to get $5 million from the state to support the hub, which is just, to me, so essential in terms of the health of the community, for young people, for older people, allowing people to be physically active and have a place to go. It's super exciting. And of course, I love this project because it's lots of new housing, and I love anything that adds a lot of new homes. I'm for it. It's fantastic. But what is exceptionally exciting about the Sunnydale project writ large is that I think a lot of times some of the fights we have around housing is there's sometimes a perception that housing is being put in not for the people who live there. And we can have all of our discussions about the overall housing market and building more homes is a good thing, period. But sometimes there's that tension and that frustration, like how is it going to benefit our existing community? And this project is such a perfect blend of adding a lot of new housing and a lot of new capacity, period, for a lot of people, including people who don't live here right now or may not even be born yet, and also very, very intentionally and directly benefiting the local community, benefiting the residents of public housing who have struggled for so long in public housing that is simply not up to par, benefiting the young people and older people who are here and need recreation, just directly benefiting the local community in a very specific and tangible way, while also helping the city of San Francisco meet our very ambitious housing goals and just putting this city on a more solid footing with housing. And then lastly, I just want to say that our southeastern neighborhoods, and Supervisor Walton and I have had many conversations about this, as I did with Supervisor Cohen before when we served together on the Board of Supervisors. Southeastern neighborhoods have been just so neglected for so many years. It needs to end. I think it is ending. We're seeing much more focus on the needs of this community. It is an essential part of San Francisco, of the fabric of our city, and it is long past due for us to be making these incredibly important investments. So congratulations to everyone, and it's just very, very exciting. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Senator Wiener. So it's also my pleasure to introduce someone who doesn't need much of an introduction in this neighborhood. He's very well known from his time as president of the Board of Supervisors. He's the District 10 supervisor, but he was well known to this community long before that for his work as a nonprofit leader, working on jobs, community development, and really every issue that faces these communities. He's really dedicated his life to improving the communities, particularly of the Southeast, and has a proven track record of creating positive change. He needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. Supervisor Shimon Walton. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Good morning. Once again, it is no surprise that the sun is shining in the southeast sector of San Francisco. Since the early start of the millennium, we had several conversations about what it would look like to rebuild in Sunnydale, to make sure that the community had the housing that it deserves. Obviously, that conversation is also a big part of Hope SF and making sure that all of our major housing developments in the southeast sector were revitalized so folks could have the homes that they deserve. And so we are here, again, really just to celebrate another milestone in fulfilling a promise. We said that we would build new housing. We said that folks wouldn't get displaced. We said that we would bring an amazing facility to community where young people would actually have a place to go. Oftentimes, people get frustrated with the youth, and they talk about the fact that they may hang out in areas where typically people don't think young people should be, but they never put their money where their mouth is. So I do want to thank Senator Wiener. I want to thank Mercy. I want to thank Baines Nibby. I want to thank, of course, the folks in community who really worked hard to make sure that we could realize a space where our young people would actually have an opportunity to thrive, participate in activities, participate in programs right in their very own community. If you look at the building that's being built, the hub, if you look at the new housing, you can kind of get a feeling and an understanding that people weren't just coming to the table to say that they were going to get things done, but they're actually working together to make it happen. So I'm happy to be here with all of you today. We are not finished yet. There's still much more work to do, but most certainly over the course of the next couple of years, you're going to see a continued vibrant space right here in Sunnydale, right in the heart of community. So I want to thank all of you for your work, your participation. I want to thank everybody, not just for coming out today, but continuing to understand how important it is to make sure that folks thrive here in Sunnydale and in the Southeast. Because so goes District 10, so goes San Francisco. So thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor. And now it's, before I introduce Mayor Breed, as I said, Ann and I are working off of different scripts, and I forgot to mention something very important, which is that our staffs work together with the residents to try and figure out what these two buildings should be named. And I think Obviously, naming has an incredible importance, tells you where people are from and what people's history are and where people are going. And so the residents came up with these names and ultimately voted for them. So I'm happy to announce that these two buildings are going to be called Nia, which is Swahili for purpose, and Amani, which is Swahili for peace. So give it up for the residents. I think this is just going to be a fantastic. And with that, it's my honor to bring up Mayor Breed, obviously the mayor of San Francisco. She's been working on issues just like the supervisor for years, back when she was a district supervisor, when she was a redevelopment agency commissioner. She's really been working on the issues of housing, community development, economic insecurity for all of her life and all of her elected career. She's an unbelievable champion of the work that we do here, but elsewhere, but also particularly of the work in public housing. So with that, I bring you Mayor London Breed. Thank you.
Okay, it's a little windy, so bear with me because I don't want my hair whipping all over my face. I am so excited to be here because it has been a long time coming. And when I say a long time coming, even before I was mayor, a lot of the work that the community here in Sunnydale wanted to do to help address the conditions that they were living in, it was an ongoing battle. And I remember there was Hope 6, and Hope 6 promised to rehabilitate public housing all over San Francisco. And at the time, I remember the director, Ronnie Davis, and I was living in Plaza East public housing when we were given all of this hope of rehabilitation and investment, and then the money ran out. Gavin Newsom was the mayor at the time where he made a commitment to create a program called Hope SF. So even though the funds to rehabilitate public housing were no longer completely available from the federal government, he made a commitment from the city and county of San Francisco to put together all the state, federal, local resources to fulfill the promises that we were making. And then Ed Lee came along and said, you know, enough of the new promises. Let's work hard on fulfilling those old promises. And then when I came along, one of the first budget, or I forget which speeches I gave, was it right here in Sunnydale to make a commitment that we were going to make sure that we did everything we can to deliver on that promise, but also work hand in hand with the community to do it. So this has been a long time coming, and there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. And I couldn't be more excited and proud to be here with so many people who have had a real important role in helping us to get there. And it does start with the residents and the people who live here, and the people who've lived here when it was problematic, to the people who are still here, Larry, who are a part of the solution to make it happen. We are finally getting to a better place. Not only the 222 units that have already been completed, but the 170 units we're topping off today to make sure there is a real one-for-one replacement to support the existing community in Sunnydale. But having housing is just one part of it. Making sure that the amenities, the grocery store, wellness center, childcare, and I gotta say, you know, working with Mercy and working with Related has been different for this project more than anything else. They have made it very personal. And they have gone out of their way to not only help us to raise the private dollars necessary to get this project done and the community center that we're seeing here today built, they actually put up financial resources themselves. So I really want to thank Bill Whitty and Related for their work and their advocacy to help invest in this project, and to thank Mercy and Doug for all of the work that they did as partners to really get us to this point. Thank you guys for being more than just developers, but being an important part of the fabric of making sure that we had the financial resources to get the job done. And of course, success has many parents because there's a lot of money that's needed to get it done. Between Supervisor Shaman Walton, Senator Scott Wiener from the state, and also one of my favorite people from the state, Gustavo, I'm talking about him because let me tell you, San Francisco is very expensive to build. And we need a lot of tax credits, state resources. We need a real partner in this work. And he understands the importance of getting the job done. He has done incredible work hand in hand with the city and county of San Francisco, not just in this project, but also through the pandemic where there were some serious challenges around housing. And we want to appreciate you because we wouldn't have been able to get the almost 5,000 affordable units that we've been able to build since I've been mayor. We wouldn't be able to do that if it were not for your leadership and the governor at the state level. So thank you so much, Gustavo. So I think there's a whole bunch of other folks who need to speak, but I'm so happy to be here. I don't know what to do. This is a long time coming, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you, whether it's NIBI, whether it's the community, whether it's the Boys and Girls Club, whether it's all the folks who are part of the community who advocated for this. This is extraordinary, and this is overdue and what this community deserves. I also want to give a shout out to the Housing Authority. Tanya Letiju, under her leadership, she's been able to work with our HUD secretary, who we brought out here at one point. She just retired, former mayor, my friend Marcia Fudge, who made a commitment to Section 8 vouchers for this project. I mean, all the things that had to happen to make this pencil out, to get this work done, has been extraordinary. And I just want to thank from the bottom of my heart the people who put the time in, who put the resources in, who made it really personal, and who helped deliver this project for the Sunnydale community. Thank you all so much, and thank you everyone for being here today.
So, by way of introduction of the Housing Authority, we're lucky enough to have Commissioner Torres here with us. He has got many other roles. You pay your taxes through him, among other things. And he's been also an unbelievable champion. And I just want to echo the mayor's comments. I was thinking about it last night because Tanya was nice enough to attend our event. And I was just thinking what an incredibly hard job it is to run a housing authority that is in the midst of a transformation like this. No one gives you the credit for really propping up a very, very difficult ship. And I think I just want to say thanks to you and to Kendra and Linda and everybody else that's there. It must be an unbelievably different psychology to do that than it is to build something up. And I think she's just been an incredible partner. So I want to thank Tanya and introduce him in his commissioner role, Commissioner Torres.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Mayor Breed and Senator Wiener, Supervisor Walton, and all who are attending today. There is an extraordinary opening in the novel by James Baldwin, Another Country. And it's a metaphor for what's happening here today and a response to that story. That a young man without any hopes, with no more dreams, gets slapped in the face once again when he looks up in the middle of a club to see a shining ball with so many glittering lights of reflection, but can't seem to see himself reflected there. For so many in this community, the dream has been to look across at the city and the skyline and still not being able to see themselves reflected there. That's why it was so important when Mayor Breed talked at the beginning of her term about opportunities for all of our community members. And now because of this event and the stewards who believe in the promise of making sure that people can see themselves reflected in their own communities and images of success and hope and possibility, that this extraordinary accomplishment and this momentum that's being built here in Sunnydale can be replicated for so many futures and so many lives that are at stake at home, in new units, and at play, in service, in our centers and in our hubs. And it requires extraordinary leadership that Doug talked about. Extraordinary leadership that Mayor Breed talked about. And we are so lucky as the president of the Housing Authority Commission, joined by Commissioner Leroy Lindo here as well, to know that we have that steward in Dr. Tanya Letiju, who has been leading the authority through a reform process to ensure that we can live up to that promise. so that people can see themselves reflected and respected in the city and county that we love so dearly. And so with that, our leader, Tanya Ledesju of the San Francisco Housing Authority.
Thank you, President Torres, and thank you, Mayor Breed, as well as Doug. I do have a script, but I just want to speak from my heart. Every time I come to this site, I come to this site often, and I just think about the amazing opportunity that Mayor Breed gave me to be able to come to the Housing Authority. And when I came to the Housing Authority, it was in a lot of trouble. And we're still working through many decades of challenges and issues. But what's been so important to me each and every time I come to one of our sites is to see this transformation. Because I know that this transformation makes the difference in how individuals can see themselves, how individuals can believe that anything is possible. I grew up in a household where my parents told me, you can be anything that you want to be. And when you have a place that you can call home, and it feels like home, it looks like other people's home, and it is filled with lush green grass and trees, and you can look at the nature and you can breathe clean air, and things just seem to be moving well, you can thrive in your life. And so each and every time I look at the new buildings, and I still have to address what's going on in our old site, and I always tell myself I don't have a magic wand that I can wave and just make it all work together. But with each and every one of you, with our mayor who deeply in her heart, she cares about each and every resident in this city, on this site. She's committed to this work. It makes my work easier. When I'm working with Doug and we are problem solving how to get to the next place and the next place, it makes my work easy because they are committed to the transformation, to the lives. When I'm talking to Supervisor Walton and we're trying to figure out what's going on, why it's going on, but it makes my work easy when I see these new buildings coming online, when I see our residents moving to the next place in their life, to their new building, to see this community center coming up that will provide economic opportunities, that will provide different types of services that are so necessary to have a vibrant and fervent life. And I love when the mayor says that this is an opportunity for individuals to have to live their best lives. And she has been shepherding the opportunity for Sunnydale members to thrive and to have a way to live their best lives. And I just want to thank you for that, Mayor Breed. Because each and every day when I wake up with our community on our minds. I go to bed with our community on our minds. And I've told her numerous times, I love each and every resident that we serve, even though I don't know them. I'm deeply committed to the work because I know the difference that it makes when you have support, when you have the things that you need to live your best life. And when I look at the children that are here in our youth, I always tell myself, I'm not willing to lose another generation. We cannot lose another generation. And each and every one of us have a responsibility to this generation. It's easy to complain about what they're not doing and where they are and why they're where they are versus saying, what can I do to make a difference for this generation? And every day that I'm committed to this work, I'm like, I'm here for the next generation. I'm here for their parents because I want them to be well and I want them to have a life that they believe is worth living. And I'm a part of that mission. And so, Mayor Breed, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come to the Housing Authority. Thank you, Kendra, because there's many days that she explains things to me that I don't necessarily understand, that have opened my eyes to the community and helped me to have a very different passion and understanding about things that I didn't necessarily know. This job has been phenomenal. Yes, I have a doctorate, but I'll tell you the education that I've gained academically is nothing compared to the life education that I have been experiencing here. And I want to say thank you to the Sunnydale residents. I want you to know that I'm committed to you, that I love you, and I appreciate how you have been patient with the Housing Authority, how you have been patient with the city, how you have been patient with Mercy, because you are living amongst all of the construction. As you are watching your community transform, I want to thank you for being patient with us, and I want to thank you for trusting us with your life. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Dr. Ledejeux. I think everyone is really starting to understand and already feels and knows how personal this work is, how important it is to all of us, to everyone involved, and thank you for those remarks. Mayor, thank you for all of your comments. They were all so wonderful. I really appreciate hearing the parents to success, and I'm going to build on that because there are so many parents to the success of this, including all of those with checkbooks. So I really do appreciate, and I'd like to just comment and acknowledge the commitments and the contributions from our financing partners. Wells Fargo Bank is a very big participant in these two phases, $40 million in tax credit equity, over $100 million between the two buildings in construction financing. Citibank, also a very big participant, $40 million between the two phases. The Mayor's Office of Housing, thank you for all that you're doing day to day, but also for the financial commitment that made this possible. Over $40 million for the housing, over $10 million for the ground floor retail, and over $27 million for the infrastructure. And I know we don't have the emotional attachment to these roads that we do to some of the buildings, but I have to tell you, they are so important, and they also are blood, sweat, and tears inducing, I will just say. All right. Also to the San Francisco / California Housing Finance Agency, CalHFA, combination, the bond recycling program. We were the first to use the bond recycling program here in San Francisco, so innovative, and thank you, over $20 million in recycled bonds. The California Department of Housing and Community Development, you're going to hear from Director Gustavo Velasquez in a moment, but significant dollars in the accelerator program, the infill infrastructure program, and a combination again with HCD and the Strategic Growth Council with ASIC. And I will say, and I'll talk about our staffing in a minute, but one thing that in the last several years happened, we had an in-house conversation that related about continuing on, because we kept submitting application after application after application, and we were not getting the traction. And I'm looking right at you too. And there was a moment of, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this happen? Will this ever happen? How do we continue? And all of a sudden, we started getting funding awards, and all of a sudden, all of this became possible. And I cannot tell you how amazing that was. So thank you very much. So it is my Thank you. It is my honor to introduce our next speaker. This is very, very exciting for me, I have to say. So this year, Marina Wyant was appointed by Treasurer Fiona Ma as the Executive Director of the California Debt Limit Allocation Committee and the California Credit Allocation Committee. Both committees are chaired by Treasurer Ma and play a critical role in promoting private investment in affordable housing through state and federal low-income housing tax credits. Marina has a huge job, and she will continue doing her excellent work in forging strong partnerships between different state agencies and with all of the developers and cities and local partners throughout California to produce more affordable housing just like this. Thank you to Marina, and please help me in welcoming her to the podium.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to go off script too. My grandparents were immigrants back in the late 40s, and they settled in San Francisco. And my mom was born and raised here. And so when I come to the city, I'm reminded of the opportunity that this city provides for all people, and it's a city for all. It's a city of opportunity. But it's rooted in community. And my family had the luck of having a very strong Russian community that kind of held them together and lifted them up when they came to this country. And so when I look around at Sunnydale and I hear the remarks of the previous speakers talking about the community that's here, it means so much to imagine the lives that are going to be changed from this community today that we're building. And it's such an honor as executive director of TCAC and SIDLAC, and on behalf of the chair, Treasurer Fiona Ma, to be here today and to be part of this project by providing the tax credits and the bond financing for it. And I'm proud to be part of this amazing team that brought this dream to fruition, from the development team and the staff, the city, the county, the housing authority, you name it. It sure sounds like a lot of people were involved. And just really honored to be here today. I do have 2 certificates to present to Mercy Housing and to Related on behalf of the treasurer as a thank you for all the hard work around Sunnydale. Best wishes and congratulations.
We got a photographer over here. And there's a surprise check inside. Yeah. It's really weird. Great.
Thank you. Well, that was exciting. This is an exciting day. All right, so it is also my honor to introduce our next speaker, Director Velasquez. In 2020, Gustavo Velasquez was appointed by the governor, Gavin Newsom, as director of the California Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD. He leads California's housing policy agenda and administers a wide range, a huge range of programs that produce affordable housing in communities across the state, including this community. Affordable housing, after years of trying this partnership, I've already referenced that, years and years of trying. This partnership received significant support from HCD to fund this development. Please help me welcome Gustavo Velasquez.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Buenos dias. It's great to be here in Sunnydale. I appreciate, 2 of my favorite, not just mine, but in state capital, 2 of the favorite people in the affordable housing industry, Doug Shoemaker and Ann Silverberg, build wide groups that are partnering here. Related and Mercy are just phenomenal across the state. We're so happy to be holding hands with them. I want to thank the mayor. Thank you for your very kind words, Mayor. She knows, we only hold hands. The local powers continue to be important, significant, critical in order to continue to build the housing that we need in the city of San Francisco. And she's been the champion, working hard with the Planning Commission, Board of Supervisors. But it is you that is making projects like this possible. We're just, a facilitator, a partner in this process. Also want to thank Senator Wiener for just the steadfast support of HCD programs, protecting always our programs, and being certainly the champion of such consequential housing policy across the state. It's just been remarkable, his tenure in the Senate. And I just want to say, as you know, last year, there's been a lot of talk about the role of the State Department, not only helping finance affordable housing. We have tremendous shortage across the state, more than 2 million homes short in order to stabilize the housing market, especially at the low income side of the low side of the income scale. But obviously our work on working with localities to spur the type of housing creation that is needed. That's been our housing accountability work that's been kind of growing. And last year, there's a lot of talk about this review that the state started working with the city around some delays in the entitlement and approvals of affordable housing. I want to say the mayor was the first one to embrace, alongside Senator Wiener, these efforts, because they travel across the entire city, not just any particular political district, but really across the city. They know how important it is to speed up the creation of housing, and for all to say, this is really about partnership. This is not only about reviewing that localities are complying with the state law, but demonstrating committed partnership behind those efforts. And one of them is this project with a state financial assistance in the amount of nearly $75 million across different programs. The program that supports enhancements in infrastructure, a program that demonstrates the connection between our climate goals and our housing goals in the state, and of course, a program called the California Housing Accelerator that was an idea by the governor, since we had so many projects that were stuck for the limitations of tax credits and tax-exempt bonds, and they needed an infusion of dollars in order to go into construction. And this project was one of the 58 awardees for that funding. And I'm sure there will be probably a reporter that will start writing about so much taxpayer subsidy into one particular project. But let's just get the facts straight. First of all, this project is all about, density. It's dense, something that the senator said is going to keep people in place in the Sunnydale community. This is, with everything that we hear about housing creation, creating the pressures for displacement and gentrification, this project does the exact opposite. This project is about building community. Mercy and Related are here not just to build homes, but to create an entire revitalization project around the community, the entire community of Sunnydale. This project is about, again, the proximity to so many services that the residents will need, which helps reduce the greenhouse gas emissions that are created by use of vehicles. Deeply affordable units, which is the biggest shortage we face, and I can go on and on. So again, it's a lot of funding into one project, but it's about the rebuilding, the renaissance, continuing renaissance of a community that has to be put in context before we start really talking about so much money going into a project. It really is community rebuilding, and that's why we are here, because we see this project and the community of Sunnydale as a bright spot in the continuing efforts to have San Francisco continue to be the beacon of hope that it has always been under your leadership, Mayor. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us.
Okay. Our last speaker is Lynn Van Kook-Liebert. She's the Executive Director of the Strategic Growth Council. For those of you that don't know what the Strategic Growth Council is, it's a 10-member council that helps put together funds for issues related to climate change and strengthening communities around the state. Have invested over $4 billion in projects around California. This is my fortunate second time in a week to be with Lynn. The last time she kicked me really hard, and that's why she's got this cast on her foot. But Lynn, welcome, and thank you for all your support.
Thank you, Doug. Well, good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be here today. We have been speaking in the governor's office and administration so much this year about implementation, making sure that all of the work that we've been doing over the last couple years on building programs, working with the legislature, thinking through solutions, gets to these moments where you see the work in place. You see the community being benefited so directly by the incredible investments, ideas, and visions that come through projects such as these. Now, one of the things that I enjoy so much about working on the Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities program is that this program is really centered around this idea of building homes near people's daily destinations, supporting folks where they're at with high quality, affordable housing that is so close to the places that they work, are educated, go to school, and play. and making sure that then not only is it a housing project, but it's also then wrapping around the transportation and the support services, that it's going to make it easier, more comfortable, and essentially more climate resilient in terms of being able to be supported in moving around a space in a given day. So, all of the folks today have talked so much about the housing and the affordability and the units, and I just wanted to take a minute to also talk about the transportation components that we're going to see here as well. So in addition to the housing, this will also purchase 2 electrical units for the Caltrans corridor, build a bike facility and bike path, and construct new crosswalks and sidewalk improvements for safer crossing between the community garden and the playground. This will also provide unlimited monthly transit passes for the next 3 years. So not only is this going to be just an incredible place to live, it's going to be easier to move, it's going to be easier to get to your daily destinations, and it's going to be also helping to build up the transit systems, which we know are so important to being able to meet our collective climate goals in the state. So this, getting to this point, it takes a village, and it's so incredible to just hear the stories, hear the personal connections, hear the testimony of what it took to get to this moment. And so the Strategic Growth Council, we're just so proud and honored to be part of this moment, and we thank you for allowing us to be part of this partnership. We know that it's years of community organizing, engagement, planning, partnerships. I think there was a blood, sweat, and tears referenced earlier to get to these points where you have this collective moment of success and celebration. So congratulations to everybody here for the places that you participated, the role that you played, and the incredible community investment that is here for the community of Sunnydale. Thank you so much, and again, congratulations.
Come on up, man. Come on up. So, we're closing up right now, and really want to just thank all the folks that are here today, but particularly the staff that run and operate these buildings. The residents, many of whom work in various community-based organizations here on site. I think everybody on the Sunnydale work is trying really hard to make sure that this community is really run and operated by folks in this community as much as possible. That's what we're hoping for in the retail spaces. And I just want to thank the folks that are out here every day when there aren't tents and there aren't cameras and the like. It really makes a difference in the lives of people.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very, very quickly, just want to very quickly say thank you also to the folks who are building these buildings, Nibby Baines. Thank you to our architects who are doing such an amazing job. Please come back for the ribbon cutting and see their beautiful, beautiful work. To our construction manager, to our legal team, to the related team, to Bill Whitty, who was here at the very beginning and continues to be committed. He's our leader, our beacon. Thank you. And as well, joined by Tu Nguyen, Carlos Vasquez, Morelli Becerra, Caitlin Ross, Stephanie Schwartz, and Paige Peltzer. I want to just thank everyone for being here today and give you the instructions now. We are going to invite all of the speakers to walk over to the beam behind us. I think we're going to sign it and have